Hey, and I'm back. Today we're going to do something pretty interesting. I'm gonna take you through my entire process of building a robot. Not in all one day. Obviously, it's going to take a long time. Robots aren't easy, but with some of the new tools that are out there, it gets easier. So first thing I'm going to do is kind of talk you through setting up a ROS node, and let me tell you about the robot that I'm going to build. I do a lot of 3D printing, and next couple of months I'm going to have knee surgery, so I'm not going to be able to go up and down the stairs to my office where my 3D printers are. A lot of my tooling is. I moved most of my tooling downstairs, as you can see, and my guest room now has most of my stuff. And so what we're going to do is essentially build a robot that can climb stairs, just like some of my college students have done in the past, and I've done in the past. And also we'll have an arm that'll be able to grab something from my 3D printer. So it's got to be able to go upstairs. It's got to be able to be teleoperated. It's got to be able to open my office door, and then open. My 3D printers are encased. It's got to be able to open the plastic, grab the print out, make sure the bed's clean. At worst, pick up the magnetic build plate and take it downstairs so I can clean it. Okay, that's a lot. So might be one arm, two arms. I haven't quite figured that out yet. Those are small details, but two arms would be easier for teleoperation. All right, let's get into it. First thing is, I'm assuming you already have ROS2 running. Humble is what I'm going to use. So you can use Jazzy if you'd like. Humble's what I'm going to use. I'm in Ubuntu 2204. Those are kind of the baseline of what you need, and VS Code probably what you need for today. And I've showed how to install Isaac Sim and Isaac Labs, so those are probably what we'll be using along with Genesis. Okay, get started. We're going to move everything to a folder, and we call that a workspace in ROS2. So right now I'm going to create a folder called, I always have these clever names for robots. They're all pretty terrible, so I think I'm going to name this one, let's name this one, listen to this great name, Home Bot Super Original. And let's cd into that directory. So HomeBot, we're going to tab to complete. And let's make a directory called source. In the directory source, we're going to house all the source for our code that we're writing. Okay, so and cd into source, it has cd into HomeBot, and in source has nothing. So at some point we're going to inflate what ROS considers a build set of packages, and an install set of packages. We're going to inflate all this stuff. So how we do that is with Colcon, which you should have the Colcon and Colcon extensions already created. So there we go. And what does it do? Well, it creates just a bunch of package structures. So we have build, install, log, and source. And we're going to cd into source because that's where most of our code is going to be housed. We cd into source. This is where we're going to start building all of our packages. So baseline package is like a publisher subscriber will be in one of our packages, and then we'll have one for the robot description. I like to put my launch files in another one, called bring up. So we're going to build out all of these things a little bit at a time. So I think these kind of 10-minute videos will just have the pieces and structure overall. It won't house the kind of complex things that I'm going to do in the background. But as I do things like, create the robot in CAD, I'll do a speed up video of that. When I move the robot from CAD to URDF, I'll do a video on that. Just to give you guys the structure. You can obviously out to build your own robot. So here's what we're going to do just to show some structure. All right, first thing is we're in here, we created the source. in ROS2, you should already have a list of things that you can do in ROS2. We'll go over what topics and nodes and all of those things are. But first, we'll just get into creating a package. So package, create, these aren't typically difficult commands. Build type. So in this case, build type is either Python or C++ at this point. Just concern yourself with those. And you say onward and Python. And sometimes auto complete works, but package create. And then the name. So what are we going to name this package? Let's name it homebot. Homebot underscore bot, and that's it. So normally you can also do things like say, what are my dependencies going to be? Say like you were dependent on OpenCV for things like object recognition. If you were dependent on something else, if I say I wanted to use C++, which I will use in some of my packages, then we would say build type, and it would be different. And then, the dependencies that we're going to have. But today we have 0 dependencies, so we're just going to go ahead and call this homebot, and this is where I'm going to house all of my basics of my code. ROS2 command not found. So there's a reason for this. So I have not sourced the type basically of ROS installed here. And so it's a bit more. That's a bit more of a weak of a explanation. But the point that I'm trying to make is there are a few things that we need to do to let Bash know that we, we're going to use Humble instead of anything else. So I'm going to source, and I know exactly where this is because I've done this many times. And I'm going to say humble and setup.bash. And I'm using autocomplete there, so that'll help me there. So now we can go back and do that command, and there it is. I inflated, and it's gonna create a bunch of things here. So if I look cd into homebot that I just created, ls, you see. Now it's created these files. It's got package file, resource file, setup, .py, and test file, all these kinds of things. So I want to do cd, let's go up a little bit, a couple directories. So now I have in my homebot workspace, and maybe I should have named that workspace, so to kind of give you a different, maybe I'll rename it to workspace in a little bit. Matter of fact, let's just rename it now. That way life is a little bit simpler. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to rename it just on the side here. Nothing magical about what I'm about to do. Okay, so it's renamed. I'm going to go back to all the way back out and cd into homebot. Now you'll see it's under the workspace. So now I want to open Visual Studio Code in this directory. So I'm going to click on, so it's just a dot before after code. And you can see here now in the source directory, I have all of these same resources. I have the packages, blah, 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 package.xml. This is where, this is obviously one of my email addresses. It's pre-populated it. This is actually wrong, but that's okay. But this is the one that I've set up previously. And then it's going to go off and give me a package description, those kinds of things. Very cool. Let's just ask Gemini to do some things. Let's see. Generate description. and I have GitHub Copilot running. I have OpenAI running. Yeah, I guess, sure. Kotlin setting. Who cares about that? All right, so it's generated an author. That's great. I want them to actually update this file. So I'll accept that. That was okay. I mean, and guess what? It's wrong. So again, I think I might have highlighted this when I said generate. What I really wanted it to do was generate this. And that's the beauty of these kinds of things. So now it's going to generate all this stuff for me if I want to. Dependencies and obviously TF2, all of these things are actually really good that it decided to generate, but we're not going to use any of them right now, just to not confuse everybody sitting here, but and do some of these things simply. So this is HomeBot. I'm going to put it in the description. This is version 0.0.0. Eventually we'll increment these versions, those kinds of things. All right, so let's just make something happen. I like the idea of just super simple. Let's get into something and make something happen. And the way to do that is, let's say, if I wanted to go off and create a, I don't know, what we're going to say, like a simple messaging pass back and forth. Let's get into that. That way you get a little bit more out of it. So here I'm in HomeBot. Here, this tells the builder that anything under here we're going to build inside of HomeBot, and we're going to create a node in here. So a node is simply a way of ROS2 kind of understanding what's inside of it and the messaging that may go back and forth. There's several different types. There's actions. There are services. There are, and we can get into all the different kinds of things that there are. We're not going to today. We're just going to drop in here. I'm going to create a couple of files. I'm going to call this one publisher. We call it basic pub and .py, and I'm going to create another one called basic subscriber. Basic sub, just to keep with the convention. And there we go. So we have two, and we can have Gemini help us here. So I'm going to just say Control-I and generate a ROS2 publisher node. Let's see if it's capable. Minimal publisher. Oh, that looks amazing. I'm going to accept that. And, obviously we will test all of this. So here it's publishing on topic, and this is the increment in which it's going to publish on topic. Timer that's running. I'm not sure why we having this. What's the deal with the problems? Basic sub. 1 of 4 problems. All right, what's your problem? Use code with caution. Use code with caution. Okay, so it's just telling me this is, crazy code. Don't trust it, basically. And I'm okay with that. And so this was a publisher, but it put it in subscriber. So we're actually going to take that and move it over to the publisher and paste. And then in the subscriber, which is wrong, we're gonna Control-I again, generate, and that was my fault for putting it in the wrong place, a subscriber node. All right. So this code is fairly simple. You can find this all over the internet. That's why I'm not going through the basics of this. So the publisher, what's happening is it's going to set a timer of 0.5 seconds and it's going to publish on this topic, hello world. And it's going to continuously publish. And on the subscriber side, it's going to listen for the same thing. And I'm still not completely clear on why it's like, for instance, if I did this and grabbed it and did that, it's gone. So I'm not actually sure why it's showing up as a warning. Maybe that's Gemini saying, hey, this is code generated by a bot, so don't trust it, essentially. And I'm okay with that. I definitely don't want to trust the code that's sitting there. Okay, and here comes one of my vacuums, so I'm not let it in today. All right. Okay, so moving on. So we have that. So now what we need to do is essentially just let the build tools know that there's a script that we're going to utilize, and it's going to be in basic pub. So the convention here, and a lot of things can go in here. As you can see here, Gemini is like, hey, I got you. Let's see if I can accept it just as it is, and let's see if it runs. The first time we add a new file, what we need to do now is build and run. So I'm going to go back over to HomeBot in this folder, the workspace, and colcon build. Okay, you can see it built HomeBot, and now I want to tell the bash that the source that I want to use is in my install folder. So we looked at the folder structure in here. There's a build folder. I want to use the source in my install folder. So I'm going to say source, and that's called sourcing and overlay. Install, and it's in my setup.bash. Okay, and you got to do this every time you open a new terminal. You need to let the bash know what it is you were doing, where you're sourcing from. You can have tons of workspaces on your machine, and it needs to know which one that you're actually going to use to run ROS2. All right, so now a couple of ways we can start this up. One of the ways is simply to run it, ROS2 run, if I can spell, and you'll find that tab is your friend. So I have my HomeBot. It knows where HomeBot is, and basic publisher. I can run basic publisher.py, or if I look at what I've written here, I can run basic sub, basic pub. So I'm going to run basic sub and basic pub, and so I'm going to say basic, and let's run the subscriber first, and there it is. It's running. Why nothing's happening? Oh, great question, you might ask. Nothing's happening because we actually haven't said to. Sorry, I'm moving the wrong thing. We haven't said to the subscriber sent any messages to the subscriber. So just for posterity, I'm gonna open another window and move it off to the side. Now, Terminator, by the way, you can have multiple windows running in the same constraints. I actually want to move this one off to the side when we're done, so that's the reason why I'm doing it this way. Okay, and then again, I need to go ahead and source. Source command isn't there. I'm gonna grab the shortcut to source this. Some people say always just use a new terminal whenever you're doing anything, but I don't. All right, so here, and same thing, I'm gonna run the publisher, ROS2 and run. Many similar commands like this, so get used to them. Why isn't my auto tab working? When my tab's not working, I'm always a little bit suspect that there's something that I've done wrong. Basic. Yeah, my tab completion's not working. So it's possible that I need to source again humble, even though I do have this in my bash RC file, but I will source it again. And now local setup.bash. And now let's try ROS2 run. There we go. All right. If tab complete's not working, pretty sure something's not right. So you should know that. And then basic and pub. So now when I do this, I should see it start to publish and that one start to listen. So there we go. This will get you started. Sorry for the fumbling. Usually don't do this on video. And now as you can see here, I'm publishing, and then if I stop publishing, I interrupt, you see the subscriber stops and the count is stopped there. And there we go. And if I start it again, the count will keep going. So from 0, and I could do things like keep record of that count. And so there are parameters that I can store both natively with ROS, and I can also use other tools within Python. You have access to all of Python, so you can do whatever it is you can do in Python, you can do here. So if I wanted to keep that count in ROS, great. If I wanted to keep it somewhere else, like a database, let's say, or some type of cache, I can do that there as well. Okay, so I think that's good for the very, very basics of what we're about to do. Long enough video to get started. If you like this, please like and subscribe. A lot more going on here. So this is my home robot, the very start. The next one, going to design a little bit of the home robot, and then also start to create what we call a URDF file, which is basically a robot description file. All right, have a great day.